everybody. I am going to walk through the new chart setup for the NinZaRenko. I will put links in the descriptions below for all the indicators that I'm using so you can download them. But we'll start off with just a basic NQ chart. This is a 5-minute chart. So the first thing you would do would be to go and download the indicator, and then once you've downloaded the indicator, you go into your NinZaTrader, and you want to go to Tools, you want to go to Import, and you're going to import a NinZaScript add-on. And I've already downloaded it, so I'm not going to, well, hang on, might have to here, hang on. There we go. So basically you would go to wherever you downloaded it to, and you would select the zip file. So in this case it would be NinZaRenko. I'm not going to do it because I've already done it, but you would select that and then it'll install. You don't necessarily have to restart NinZaTrader, but some people recommend it's a good idea to do it. I'm not going to go through all of the other indicators, but you definitely need this BLT trigger. And then the other indicators are already loaded into the system. So I'm just going to cancel this and move this guy out of our way. And for starters, you want to go in to your data series. So just right click the chart, go to data series. And then from data series, you're going to select, instead of a minute chart, you're going to go down and find the NinZaRenko chart. Okay. I would recommend starting off with a brick size of 12 and a trend threshold of 3. This is one of the things that you want to play with. So depending on what market you're trading, you're going to want to change these. You also might want to change them if you want to look at a longer time frame to get sort of a longer impression of what the market's doing. But 12.3 is a good place to start with the NQ. You probably want to go more like an 8.2 if you're going to do something like ES or slower moving markets. But this seems to be a good starting place for the NinZaRenko for NQ. So go ahead and apply that and then say OK. And now you can see we've got a very different looking chart than what we had before. We'll zoom out a little bit so you can kind of see what it looks like. But there's a Renko type chart, and I'm sure some of you are somewhat familiar with that. So first, we're going to add an indicator. And this is one of the indicators you'll have to go and add. It's the BLT Trigger Lines. Okay, you want to double click that, and it's going to show up in the bottom down here. And you want to change the first thing to an SMA. And you're going to want that to be 10. And the second one is also going to be an SMA. And you're going to set that to 888. And then we would like to draw arrows. And I'll show you what these arrows look like in a minute. The arrow offset, I would make it a little closer, say 2. So it'll be right close to the lines. And then I would make it gold. You can make them whatever you want. You could do gold or green for up and red for down or whatever you want to do, but I just make them both gold. And then upper region color is going to be white. Get past white. That's wheat, not white. There it is, white. And the down color is going to be black. And we're not going to do any alerts or any other of the indicators. And then down below, your line will change colors from green to red depending on what direction it's going. So go ahead and apply that. So we have a black line. Give me just a second here. Sorry about that, guys. And one of the other things, the region opacity, we want to take that up a little bit. So we'll go 55 on that. And you need to make sure this color region checkbox is checked. And that should apply. There we go. So now we've got this black region. So that means we're in a downtrend right now based on the time frame that we're looking at. And the 10 will tend to kind of follow along. Visible. Scale. That should do it. Okay. Now we want to go ahead and add a second trigger. So we go back into indicators. And we're going to do the same BLT trigger. Double click it. And this is the same thing. So it's going to be an SMA. The first one's going to be 10. And then another SMA. And the second one is going to be 50. So this one is going to track faster than the previous one. And sorry, I'm pulling up my cheat sheet here. And on this one, you're going to have this first section, we're not going to check the box. The second section, the color region, you are going to check the box. And we're going to set the regional opacity to 35. And we're going to make the up region a green. And the down region is going to be red or crimson, whichever you prefer. I find red is a little bright on my screen, so I'm going to go with crimson. And the rest of this, I believe, is good to go. So SMA 10, SMA 50. And okay. This does not quite look right, so I must have something not in here correctly. So let's go back into indicators. And the first one is SMA 10. And 88. Oh, that's regional colors. We want to change that to plot colors. That was my mistake. And we're going to plot the arrows to gold. And we want to check the box, 55 white and black. And we want to apply that. Okay, now the lines are the correct colors. But this is not correct. Properties. Oh, I didn't change that to SMA, that's why. SMA and SMA. First one should be 10, second one should be 50. And we should have that at 35. We're going to be green and crimson. And we will apply that. Ah, now it looks right. So we'll say OK. And take a look at what we have. So this big red line up here is your long-term trend. So that's the 888. So that's looking at 888 of these wrinkle bars, and it's a moving average. The 10 moving average is the one that's going to be closest to the candlesticks, the NinZaRenko. And then the one that's kind of in the middle is the 50 SMA, and it's sort of bouncing back and forth. And if you get a cross on the 10 and the 888, that's a really strong signal. So if you look back here, we had a cross where both the 10 and the 50 crossed the 888, and the market tanked. So you'll also notice that back there, that gold arrow printed. And so when you're watching, you see that gold arrow print, that's a strong signal. We were already in a downtrend, but once that cross happens, that's an entry signal to continue to take that short. And then while you're on the way down, you can see how the 10 comes up to the 50, but it doesn't cross and then goes back down. So that's a retracement continuation, retracement continuation. Then it crosses down here, so you got to be careful because this could be a reversal where it starts heading back up. It doesn't. Keeps trying, kind of wobbles in and out, and then eventually it crosses and it does work its way up. So short-term entries versus long-term entries is kind of what you're looking at. And so let's add a couple more of the indicators, and then you guys can kind of run with this and play with it however you like. So we want the swing. And where is swing indicator? And just double click. It'll put it down on the bottom here. You don't really need to change anything on this. If you want to change the colors, you can. But I'm just going to apply. Say OK. And what this gives you is a marking of, a reversal. So high to low, low to high, just kind of showing you a reversal. So when you see this kind of thing, obviously not very attractive to trade. But when you see this, where you got a low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and you're not getting the higher highs, but it's just retracements. Higher low, that's a good indication of, a longer term trend. So swing, that's fairly easy. And then another thing that I add is just a straight up SMA. Double click again, puts it in down below. And for this, it's just, you can play with it, but I do an 88. And then on this one, I'll actually change the line style to a dash dot dot and apply. And then it'll put an 88 SMA. So it's just a little longer than a 50. Some people will use this and they'll change it to different time frames and use that as sort of a stop indicator. So if you're trying to do a trailing stop, you might want to speed this up a little bit and go to 30 or 20 or whatever, and it'll move it in quite a bit closer. And then you can use that for a trailing stop. Or you can also use it just as another cross for entries for reversals. And then the last piece that I put in, and this would only work for people who are part of Candace's community, I believe. Oops, not a strategy, sorry. It's an indicator. And this is the pivot. And pivots. There's other pivots out there, I think, that you could get, but this is a pivot that I believe is tied to the indicators that Canvas has provided for us. Go ahead and apply that. Say OK. And that's going to give you your pivot points. So you've got your S1, R1, R2, S2. So that gives you an idea where you're at compared to obviously the floor traders. And that's all of the indicators. So if you guys want to set your charts up this way, feel free. And then the things to play with are the speed of the Renko. So if you go to 24/6, it's a much longer trend. Obviously, there's a little bit more risk, but when this is trending, it's going to give you a pretty good idea. Obviously, we're headed down here. Or if you want to go super fast, go 4/2. And my opinion, there's just a ton of noise. This would be really hard to trade because it happens so fast. We're at 14:37.06 to 14:38.10, like basically 1 minute. This all happened. So it'd be a hard trend to grab. But on a slower moving market like ES, it might be something you could trade off of. I don't know. But so that is everything I have for setting up the charts. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. I'll put this up on my YouTube channel, and I'll add the indicators so you guys can download them from there. Thanks so much. Bye for now.